Beautiful humans, welcome back to another episode of the I Like Birds podcast. I'm your host, Zach Rippey, and this podcast is dedicated to the non-believers, the confused believers, and the true believers. Because I, at one time or another, was all three, and I'm here to help you get a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he's all about. Let's grow in our faith together. You learn as I learn. I like the Bible, and I like words, so therefore, I like birds. Let's start the show.
People, are you ready? Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the I Like Birds podcast. Thank you so much for being here. This episode is actually going to be called Obsessed with Jesus. And I really encourage you to listen from start to finish because it has a lot of just from me to you moments in it. And I feel like we're going to take what we talk about on this episode and we're going to go into that direction. And so, yeah, just listen all the way through if you don't mind. Come back if you have to pause it for any reason. This is a special one as far as I'm concerned. I feel like they're all special, but this one is just definitely one that I feel will connect with you, and I feel like it'll be good for us to just kind of know the next direction of the season that we're about to be in our lives. And so, yeah, this is going to be a from me to you episode. From me to you, I have to tell you some things that have just really been on my heart this week. I haven't been in a healthy place in the last month or so. I'm starting to identify it, hindsight 2020 of just kind of my habits, my mindset, and the things I was doing and not doing. And I just miss my son Noah more than I've ever missed him for a long stretch of time too. It's not just I miss him a lot right now in this moment. No, it's been like heavy, and it's been long stretches of time. We had to, during the pandemic, he was supposed to come up for spring break, and then he didn't because of the travel bans and stuff like that for that season of life. And so I went 6 months without seeing him and then spent time with him for the summer. And then he was just here a week and some change ago after going through another 5 months of not seeing him. And now I have to do another 3 months of not seeing him. And it's just those long stretches where it's just, you only get a few days for the winter break. It really just weighs on your heart. It's just really heavy, And I miss him actually a lot more now that I'm constantly living and battling with the loss of my brother Armani. And I haven't mentioned Armani to you guys in a while because I'm trying to be strong and I'm trying not to think about it as much as I want to, and I'm trying to be okay with missing two people that I love so much at the same time. And it's a very big challenge. It's hard. And I think about them both nonstop, and then I have to try to distract myself to not think about it because I get emotional, and it's like I don't want to be emotional every single day of my life. And just losing Armani truly just makes me miss Noah so much more when he's not here and when he's in South Carolina with his mom for the school year and stuff like that. And then his mom and I aren't in the greatest place either at the moment. We've had a rocky relationship and co-parent. We co-parent pretty well, I would say. I think we're better than most couples. I mean, I don't like to compare myself to other couples, but I'm proud of us the way we've co-parented so far. But I just stay doing stuff that upsets her, man. I'm one of those people that, if you get upset with me, I'm going to continue to make you upset because I just don't know how to go about things at times. Let's just say that. And I react to situations with emotion a lot of time, and I think she does as well. And we're both just misguided in our own ways. And, yeah, man, so that's been heavy on my heart too, So this season of just the holidays being here and, of course, with the family and missing Armani and missing Noah and then New Year's starting has just been a lot on me, man. And I'm honestly not loving my wife properly right now. I'm not loving my son Malachi properly right now. I've been craving alone time. I've been sensitive to touch and just want to be kind of left alone. I'm taking long showers and I'm not focusing on Jesus, my ministry, and my family as much as I should be. I've been lost in this like emotional place of pain, and I'm just really struggling to deal with it, man. I'm praying through it a little bit, not as much as I should. And instead of living my days, I'm surviving my days with small goals accomplished throughout them. I'm still getting stuff done because I'm an overachiever. No, I'm playing, but I've been distracted too. I'm distracted like when I'm living my days. My head feels kind of cloudy and I'm focused on the future and I'm trying to prepare for something that me and Catherine are working on mentally, and which I'll tell you guys about soon when it's a better energy in the world, which might not come. But I definitely want to give you guys the inside scoop of what's going on. I'll do it in a few weeks or something like that. I'm just not really. It's like when you let people know something big, it's like that comes with a lot of weight. A lot of people reaching out, asking questions, and I just want to kind of keep that on the wraps until I'm ready emotionally, because it's been rough, man. And I'm just slowly identifying things about myself that I need to change and just improve on with the help of Jesus, with the help of God, and in prayer, and just kind of identifying stuff and just growing in that, and it sucks when you have a podcast and people look at you as a spiritual leader, but then you're like, bruh, I'm struggling, I'll help you guys through my struggles, but I'm struggling. And I've just been making these emotions within myself worse, right? Because this is the thing where it's like so important to self-reflect and just identify things. And that's why I think journaling is so important, because you can really just express what you're going through, and you kind of figure things out on your own when you're asking yourself questions, when you're thinking, when you're reflecting, when you're processing the things that you've been doing and whatnot. And I've just been feeding that pain that I feel of missing Armani and Noah, and just not having peace in my heart with the situation that I discussed earlier. And I've just been feeding that pain with anger, lies, and destruction. Meaning I've been caring about this world. I've been caring about this country because I have children. And I want them to have the same freedoms that I had and the same freedoms that you once had. I don't want my son, and when I say my son, I really think about Noah because he's 7, Malachi's 1. So, hopefully things change and improve for Malachi when he's of age to kind of know what's going on. Malachi's life is great right now. He runs around naked and loves to live his life and jump up and down and dance. Malachi's great. Noah's the one that's kind of in the world, goes to school. So when I say my son in these next few sentences, I want you to register that I'm talking about my 7-year-old. I don't want my son embarrassed to show his face to the world. I don't want him to think learning behind a plexiglass is the way to learn about this world. The glass kind of reminds me of the phone, and the fact that he's learning with the plexiglass in front of him kind of makes me think that they're really shifting our entire humanity into staring at a screen through a glass, and that's how you perceive the world. I know it's a weird theory. I just thought about it right now, but that's kind of how the emotions feel when he tells me he has to do those things. And your kids have to do them too if you have kids, if they go to school, right? And I just don't want my son growing up believing that fear has to be a common emotion for him to live with. So I freaking care about this country, man, because I care about my family. But maybe, hear me out, y'all. Maybe caring about this country doesn't mean reading about what happened every day, keeping an eye on every tweet that says breaking news. Maybe I'm misguided when it comes to me caring about the world, about reading the breaking news and telling you guys what I think about the Capitol is not going to make my life better. It's probably not going to make your life better. And frankly, it makes it worse because now I have been red-pilled to the world that we're living in, and it's not pretty. The stuff that I've read and just seen and researched and just been following, we all need Jesus a little bit more. Let's just say that. And I'm grateful because I now know where I stand on certain positions, belief, and values on a world level that I wasn't really confident in as a man. I felt really still on the boy mentality when it comes to knowledge and just kind of enlightenment and stuff on what's going on around me and perspective. And what I mean by that is I now feel like I have a new perspective and just a different perspective, a more grown perspective on a lot more things that I used to because of what I've read, researched, and listened to nonstop to very intelligent, independent sources who aren't manipulated by an agenda, right? So I think you guys already know this, but if you're tuning in for the first time, I don't do anything mainstream media. I'm all I'm in the cut. I'm bouncing around from different websites and, who knows if those are, and who knows what the heck information is valid at this point anymore. And I've learned what discernment means because of that, because of how much stuff that I've seen that they said was going to happen and then didn't happen, and all the stuff that they that they kind of feed you to feed into this confusion. So when you're confused, they can control you, and that's an old war tactic. That's even one of the steps in like the communist playbook of Marxism and stuff like that. So anyway, I've just learned this year what asking questions is really designed for. And you see that all throughout the Bible of like Jesus asking people questions. And I think it's very, and I was talking to my friend, asking my sister-in-law, Steph, about this, about how important it is when somebody asks you a question that kind of makes you think, because you answer what you're struggling with by thinking about the question, by thinking about the answer of the question that was asked. And I've learned just how valuable it is to know how much you don't know. I'll say it again. I've learned how valuable it is to know how much you don't know. I've pursued knowledge. I have constantly and will continue to seek the word enlightenment of this life and what we're doing here, and to know as much about God as possible. And I'm a human being. I want to help other human beings, but in an intellectual way. And my wife, Catherine, and I actually had an interesting conversation the other night about what it truly means to be a pastor. Because I told her I don't want to ever be a pastor that's in the box of being a pastor. You know, where I have to fit in this little box of like, oh, he does that and he has to do that because he's a pastor. Then I expressed my concerns with her about how I still struggle with the love people part. You know, because it's easy to love the people that you love. I mean, that's sometimes hard as well, but it's easy to just, you know, I like that guy. I love that guy. He's great. He's a great dude. Makes me laugh. He's awesome. I love him. You know, I love people. Yeah. But in the reality, even now in my life, there's still people that I don't love and would prefer not to waste my time talking to them. And I'm just being real here. It's still something I struggle with, and I'll work on it. But it was an interesting thought I had. Like, what do pastors do? What are their job roles? What are their intentions? What is that pastor's role? What is his character traits? What's his perspective? What is his stance, and what does he do as a spiritual leader? And hear me out here. One of the least favorite things about some of the pastors that I have met is it always kind of feels like they're faking the funk. It feels like they're putting on a facade, a little front. A little funky energy kind of bounces off them, and it's as if they're trying to look holy rather than be holy. And trust me, I'm not holy yet. You know, like, I got work to do. It's a faith journey, right? Even when I finished ministry school in a year and a half and I landed a job as a pastor, your boy not going to be over here claiming to be holy. And I don't want that, guys. I don't want to come off that way. I don't want to come off as like, I don't want to care about what you think I look like as a pastor, I don't want to care about what you think I should be as a pastor. And that's why even to today, even with doing the Jesus podcast, even being a proclaimed ministry student, I still say wild stuff on the internet still. Like, I got a Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, I'll crack jokes. I'll be sarcastic. I'll be unapologetic in my stance on certain issues like free speech, mask mandates, lockdowns. Pretty obvious stuff. I'm a dude who believes in God-given freedoms. Sorry, not sorry. And I'm going to be real, man. I'm going to be real. I'm going to tell my congregation what I struggle with. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to tell them, yo, this is what I struggle with. But hey, Jesus doesn't struggle with this. Jesus shows you how to get out of that struggle and into a struggle-free life with him. I'm going to tell them to follow him, not follow me. And subscribe to the show, though. I Like Birds podcast. And don't forget your tithe on the way out. All right. Good night. God bless. And I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be sarcastic. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to say abortion is trash. Open to prayer with that. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to say today, on behalf of me and the congregation, abortion is trash. Maybe I'll word it different, though, because that's kind of, yeah. All right, let's get back to it. But yeah, man, I'm going to speak life. I'm going to speak hope. I'm going to speak faith. I'm going to try to help people by sharing what I'm going through, either in that moment or something that I've been through, and just kind of guiding them to it with the lens of the Word of God through it, you know, with the Spirit of Jesus, with the gospel. And I'm going to tell people how dope Jesus is. and I'm going to just be myself and who I am as a person and why I'm pursuing being a pastor is because I just want to be myself, who also tells people about Jesus and also tries to emulate his life after him and follow him and just try to show people how I'm trying and how I fail and sometimes I succeed. You know, like God's done a lot with me and through me this year, but at the same time, like, bro, there's work to do. There's work to do. And this is the name of the podcast. It's called Obsessed with Jesus because I want to become obsessed with Jesus again. My friend Joe McGregor, who I stayed with in South Carolina in the beginning of summer of this year, him and his wife Jamie, they have a baby on the way. Pray for them. They're getting a house. Super good people. My friend Joe messaged me the other day. He just started listening to the show, and he's going in on my episodes, like the older ones. Like I think he's even going like 1 through 6. Like he's gone 1 through 16 so far. And I'm impressed. And it's so funny because he was like, hey, thanks for the shout out on episode 11. I was like, huh? You know, like it's so long ago. I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't know. I don't remember. Okay, yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, no problem. You know, and he said that he loved the episode. I think it was 16. Jesus is so dope. And which I love that episode. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. It's in big bold letters. Jesus is so dope. He said he liked that one the best, and that was his favorite one. And that's actually the one that I send to people that have never heard the show, that I'm like trying to be like, hey, yo, check out the show for me. And I send them that one first. You know, that's always one of my go-to episodes when somebody asks me, oh, which one should I listen to? You know, and something inside me, though, when he told me that, something inside me got kind of sad. It's kind of like, because I knew that the last few months, the episodes had been a little bit less of Jesus and a little bit more of country. And granted, I kind of rebranded the show, Jesus Jokes and a little bit of country. And I do feel that the two are related in this season and how to go through it. And I want to be here for you guys and just kind of be a voice of reason and a voice of just kind of the other side that you may be hearing and being clouded by on social media and mainstream media and just all that jazz and just coworkers and stuff. And I feel bad though, because like I started to feel sad because if he catches up to like episode 45 and 46 and 60 and 61, he may have a different perspective about the show if he listened to just those 4 episodes instead of the early ones, right? And back in those episodes that he's listening to right now, I was just so obsessed and passionate about Jesus over anything and everything. You know, I talked about my life still, and I talked about COVID a little bit still when I was at peak back in May and whatnot. But still, it was just really more focused on Jesus. And my buddy Jeff DeWeird, who was on episode 54 with me, him and I actually talked about the value of being obsessed with something and how much you gain out of that. And it's a good thing. And the world will tell you being obsessed with something is not good, but it's actually a beautiful thing. And that's how I was with Jesus a few months ago. And I'm ready to get that fire back. I'm ready to get that fire back, baby. I'm ready to feel it again. I'm ready to read, like I'm actually reading Matthew right now, so I am currently in a gospel, but I'm not like reading it as diligently as I should. I actually just started a new book, which is actually going to help me so much more than the books that I was reading. I was reading like a life adventure book, and then I was reading Candace Owens' book, and I just took kind of a break because my semester ended, and I had to read 3 books. About plus the 3 books plus the Bible while in ministry school for the first semester. So I had a little bit of break. So I was like, oh, let me have a fun read. And the fun read was actually just kind of like, oh man, our country's screwed, that kind of mentality, you know? So I think that just keeping that, I had to start the book. Basically what I'm telling you guys is I started a new book that I'm supposed to read for the next semester. And I got an early start on it. It's called Jesus on Leadership by Gene Wilkes. And it is so good. Jesus on Leadership with Gene Wilkes. Highly recommend it. My actual connections pastor, Dustin, he tells me it's one of his favorite books of all time. So I'm super excited to finish it. And I'm like 40 pages in, and woo, it's good so far. And it's just everything that I needed to get me back in the room with Jesus. Back in the room of like coming home, being excited to do a podcast about Jesus while my wife is at her mom's house, you know? And being in that energy of like, instead of being like, oh, I have to do a podcast tonight. And it's not like I'm in that energy. It's just the fact that it's like, do I have time to write and record a podcast tonight? And that's the thing, man. That's why your time is so valuable and important. And man, it's just so important to get in touch with God, because I feel like doing these podcasts and writing these episodes and getting in the Word is just the thing that gives me fuel and gives me like hope and faith and just love and just being able to be a better person and a better follower of Jesus and just knowing how to help other people along the way in that, So I really encourage you guys, man, if you're distracted like I am with the world, get yourself a Jesus book. Recommend Jesus on Leadership. Or Radical. We talked about that earlier in the first few episodes of the podcast back in the day. Not a Fan is a great one. Appeal to Heaven by Dutch Sheets is a great one. Intercessory Prayer by Dutch Sheets. So hit me up if you need any more book recommendations, because I've read quite a few this year and would love to help you out. And I've mentioned on here before, we're going to shift gears a little bit. I've mentioned on here before, the global plan of the world and the central banks is something that they refer to as the Great Reset, where basically they change the entire system, economic system, healthcare system, everything that we kind of know about our country and the establishment that is in place to kind of grow and prosper. Basically, our freedoms are very close to non-existence if they pull off what they're trying to do and do a great reset amongst civilization and the way the world basically works, right? And a lot of people have woken up to it. They've heard about it. They're looking it up. It's really cool to see that a lot of people are just aware, especially when you take away the amount of freedom that they've taken away this year. You kind of ask yourself why, and you look into it and you find out some stuff, and you go down this rabbit hole and you figure out like what the systems are in place and who's pulling the strings and whatnot. And I was thinking about the word, do some research on it. We'll stop talking about it. But I was thinking about that word, right? The Great Reset. I was thinking about that kind of terminology. I was, thinking about God. I was thinking about the future. I was thinking about the country. And maybe these people waking up is the real Great Reset. What if God is using what the enemy meant for evil and he's using it for good? So maybe the Great Reset was the plan that they were trying to do. And it seems like America is resisting. I feel like that's why a lot of stuff is a little bit shaken right now. It feels like we don't really know where we go from here. And what if the Great Reset is the majority of the people in our country waking up, identifying the lies, seeking the truth, and recalibrating their minds, body, and spirits, and focus on God, life, and family? What if that is the reason that all this is going on right now? Because we're fighting back with just our knowledge and with what we're willing to accept, what we're willing not to accept, and what we've seen. And they have so much analytics and data on what we're talking about amongst our phones that maybe they see a lot of people communicating back and forth about what's really going on, and they're not able to pull out the plan that they've been wanting to pull out all year with everything going on. And that's just a theory, but think about it. And maybe this entire year and some change, we're already a couple weeks into January, has all happened to show us how much we need God, right? Maybe that is the Great Awakening. Maybe that's the Great Reset, is seeing this chain of current events that have happened over this last year that are evil, violent, demonic, in a way of us as people to fix our eyes and our hearts on Christ again. Maybe it means fasting from the news and social media for a little while, like I plan to do on January 21st. Maybe it means slowing down, regrouping, and reprioritizing our lives. Maybe it means writing down your goals, creating art again, and my favorite thing to do, which I encourage you to do as well, as always, is journaling. And I can write all day if given the time. Ooh, that would be so lovely. So much time, baby. And this year, my focus is going to be even more on writing, reading, experiencing, and being present. Not thinking about tomorrow. Not thinking about what's on the phone. Not thinking about, breaking news. And not allowing the world to stop me from doing all the things that I love. I have to be better than my flesh. I have to identify what I'm feeding my brain and my spirit. I have to be mature enough in my faith to admit and confess my mistakes, my struggles. And I even told God, when I was praying last night, that I'm sorry for slipping away from Christ and being overly consumed with political news, false narratives, and smokescreens that we are being fed every day. And I'm like, God, I'm ready to get back in the ring with you. I'm ready to get back being obsessed, ready to focus on the things that are important in my life again. And these people, man, are playing political chess, and they use us Americans as the pawns. That's the way it feels, man. We're being used as the pawns in their political game of chess. And the last few days, man, I've had to take a step back and realize what I've been doing these last few weeks. Not even like what's going on in the world. Like, let's look at me. Like, what are you doing? I fell into the trap of caring about something that I have no control over. Caring about something that was weakening my relationships and limiting my relationship with God. Listen to this, guys. This is a very honest episode, and I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for being here. Let's keep going. I'm gonna wrap this up because this is so embarrassing to say. But I spent over 4 hours of my life, at least 4 hours is on the lighter side of what my prediction is. So 4 hours watching videos of this guy named Simon Parks. And he was giving what I thought was behind the scenes news about what is happening right now in DC, the globe, and military operations. And he was saying a lot of stuff that was aligning with a lot of other people I was seeing and reading and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But let me tell you what happened and what transpired after I watched way too much of this guy. Out of curiosity, and the reason I looked it up is so funny is because my instincts told me that, because he had like cats that like kept coming in his office, and I was like, what kind of man has more than one cat? You know, like that's the way my brain works. So I was like, something sketchy about this guy petting a cat. So out of curiosity, I wanted to see who this guy was. I was watching so much of. So I check out his About Me page on his website. And in his bio, it says he's an advocate believer in aliens, shadow people, and lizard people. Like, he uses like different terminology for shadow people, I think. I think he calls like muskrats or something. And don't fact check me on that. By the way, we're not a fact checking podcast. So you will hear some things like the words tyranny instead of tyranny from time to time. You'll hear me say 2 Corinthians instead of 2 Corinthians. And you'll hear me call Levi sometimes. But hey, we don't fact check on the I Like Bird show, all right? So that's a little news drop for you guys. But anyway, so this guy Simon Parks, he claims that him and his wife have an alien child after being abducted, and even claims he was born into an Illuminati family, but his mother refused and raised him as a believer in God. The same guy was also a politician in Britain for years, so I think that a lot of people hold on to what he says is credible, and he's actually proven some of the things he's talked about, apparently. So I have to do more research on the guy if I'm really going to give an honest statement about the guy. But to say that I felt like I was being misled is an understatement. I do feel like I should not have been holding on to what this guy was saying as truth, or even just listening to him for as long as I did is a big slap in the face. And I could have spent 4 hours reading or watching videos about the Bible, right? And I most definitely felt like I got duped once I read his About Me. And it's not even duped about just me listening to him, but it's duped into caring about the wrong things. And sometimes we, even as adults, go through phases. When I was a kid, I went through so many phases. You know, like I went through a phase of being emo. I'm just kidding. I didn't go through a phase of being emo. Come on now. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! At lunch. Come on. I was with the ballers. But I did go through a lot of phases. I just can't think of any off the top of my head right now. So I said emo because that was hilarious. But can you imagine me with like going to like Hot Topic and stuff? With like a eyeshadow and cat ears? All right, I'm done. All right, so sometimes we as adults even go through phases. And I'm hoping once January 21st comes, I'll just put this phase behind me and move on with my life. I'm going to have to. And so are you. So are we, regardless of your political situation. And caring about this country is exhausting. I'll tell you that. Because you can't control it. You can just speak up, and that's about it. And I really did feel called to do it on this podcast during that season. And I think I'll continue to pay attention and talk country on here. But I would not consume nearly as much as I have been for these past few weeks and months. This election felt like they sacrificed the lives and the livelihoods of 300 million Americans to get who they wanted into office. And I should actually say who they wanted out of office. The man that wanted to give power back to the people. The man they turned into a monster and brainwashed millions to hate him. Love him or hate him, the truth is undeniable. They hated him before he was even president. They are Washington, D.C. They are the media. They are the elites. The ones who had the power before he came into office. The ones who had the power. The one that tried to stay in power. How dare you give the power back to the people, they said. Get this guy out of here. He'll change everything. And he was on his way. Political savior? Could have been, if we gave him a chance as a country. as a society, as a nation. And hopefully, a Biden presidency is super boring. Hopefully, a Biden presidency is super boring and they ask him questions like, hey, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, Mr. President? Mr. Vice President-elect? That was seriously one of the questions from the media. They throw him so many softballs. And the second anybody ever asks him questions about, can you tell me about Hunter Biden? My son's the greatest son in the world, and I'm proud of him. He's the most intelligent person I know. I love when you do like a bad impression, but it's hilarious. So you're just like, we'll keep that. We'll keep that in there. But no, man, hopefully it's just a boring presidency and we can just go move on with our lives and all the evil is done behind closed curtains like the good old days. Hopefully the evil is done behind the curtains like the good old days. You know, when we all thought that JFK got shot by, what's his name? Oswald? Lee Harvey Oswald or something like that. Anyway, what do I know? I'm just a waiter at Doc B's. So maybe we can go back to not hating the president, at least on television. Then trying to impeach Trump just really shows you how much to hate him, and this will divide even more Americans. Hopefully not. Hopefully enough Americans see what's going on. You think these people want a civil war? And who knows what these people want? Who knows what they want besides money, power, control, and socialism? I'm kidding. Or am I? Who knows? But we will be okay regardless of who is in the White House, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow birds. We, meaning me and you. The country as a whole, I don't know. But you and I, our families, will be okay because God's got us. He always has. He's got his people. God's got us little birds more than he's got those in power. You can believe that. If God is with us, who can be against us? Let's get back to being obsessed with Jesus, baby. Share this episode with a friend. Subscribe to the show. Come back for more. Big announcement coming soon. ZachRippy23 on Instagram. Rate and review the podcast on Apple if that's what you're listening right now. Much love. Until next time.